Power has been mostly restored here in San Antonio. There are some who are still left in the cold and in the dark. It's a problem folks in the Hill Country are still dealing with.
The main issue was ice building up on power lines or trees falling down onto power lines. Our Alyssa Cole joins us now to tell us how many are still without power this morning. Good morning.
Hi, Alyssa.
Yes. Good morning, Stephanie. Mark, residents in the Spring Branch and Bulverde area are going on days without power. One man telling us they've been without electricity since 3 a.m. Tuesday, another saying 8 a.m. Wednesday. The two live in the Kessler Air Park subdivision, and the area tree limbs are seen snapped and scattered all across the ground. And at night, the only light comes from headlights of cars, both having to tough it out through the cold with no heat in their homes.
It was 29 the last night.
Inside the home?
Inside the home.
Our only heat source is our fireplace. The elements have been cold, and we've been in bed, snuggled up under like 5 or 6 blankets.
A statement by Perdolinus Electric Cooperative says they don't have an estimated restoration time due to the widespread damage. This morning, about 4,000 people are still without power. Those outages could extend into the weekend, and we do have an update this morning. In the CPSE map, there have been more updates and restorations to power. Mark, Stephanie.
All right, Alyssa, thank you very much. Turning now to the life-threatening cold temperatures that could set all-time records in parts of the country.
50 million Americans are now under wind chill alerts. ABC's Andrea Fujii has the details.
This morning, millions of Americans from Montana to Maine bracing for a blast of Arctic air so frigid, some places could feel like minus 60 degrees.
It is down into the single digits, and the wind is going to be howling.
Boston declaring a cold emergency. Schools are closed and warming centers are open. Wind chills there expected to plunge to 33 below zero tomorrow.
I get my coat on, and then my gloves are in my bag, and I have my hat, and I just bundle up as much as possible.
New Hampshire's governor warning residents to take this seriously.
At negative 30 degrees, hypothermia can set in just 10 minutes, and we know it's going to be even colder than that across the entire state.
Meanwhile, in the south, warmer temperatures finally on the way after that deadly multi-day ice storm. Hundreds of thousands of power outages still reported late yesterday.
Slick roads and the terrain and ice. Tree limbs falling out of the trees.
Officials in Austin, Texas now saying they're not sure when power will be fully restored. Just as quickly as the cold came into the northern tier of the country, it will leave by Sunday, with above normal temperatures expected next week. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
U.S. officials keeping close watch on a huge balloon soaring above the U.S. This was big news yesterday. A senior defense official says it could be a Chinese spy device potentially attempting to gather information from sensitive military sites. The balloon is hovering over northern parts of the U.S. Right now, a Pentagon spokesperson says the balloon poses no threat to residents below or even commercial air traffic. President Joe Biden was briefed on the matter. A senior administration official says Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley recommended not shooting the balloon down, and the president agreed.
Nearly 2/3 of U.S. adults support banning menthol cigarette sales, and more than half support ending the sale of all tobacco products. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says it has surveyed nearly 6,500 U.S. adults in 2021. Although support for both proposals was lower among current tobacco users, more than a third of current smokers supported banning menthol cigarette sales. Now, the Food and Drug Administration has proposed the ban on cigarettes as well as flavored cigars.